Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
Now let the show begin.
It's the Bob and Sheri Show.
It's so funny. Isn't it funny?
It is actually funny.
With Bob.
Why must you be so constantly irksome?
And Sheri. And now, broadcasting from the palatial Bob and Sheri studios, it's Bob and Sheri.
Oh, we've got a big show for you today. We worked hard on today, y'all. Okay, for starters, if you're a fan of cooking shows like Top Chef or Chopped or whatever, we've got a rabbit hole for you that you're going to be crying laughing. We are going to throw it way back for Everyone Needs a Laugh with Sinbad talking about marriage. An incredible story of this woman who's 101 years old, who's still commercial fishing. We're going to talk
She's
about
something.
Yeah, we're going to talk about vengeance. We've got a real-life James Bond movie unfolding. Russian rocket scientists selling secrets to the enemy. Wow, it's all brought to you by Worthy, which is this cool company that I found. If you have some, let's just say, relics of past relationships that are made of diamonds and gold or platinum sitting in your drawer collecting dust, you'd love to sell it because it's an asset. I mean, you're never going to wear it again. And you could take that cash and you could turn it into something really amazing. But where do you even begin? Who do you trust? With Worthy, you're going to get up to double what you'd find locally. And it's super easy. You schedule a safe, secure pickup, no cost to you, fully insured by Lloyd's of London. Their expert gemologists assess it and appraise it. When it sells at a price that you set and agree to, you get your money instantly. And it's super easy to use. Just go to worthy.com/Sheri. That's worthy.com/SHERI. Tons and tons and tons of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. I would not steer you wrong. This is the way to let go of those relics of the past and start fresh with cash in your pocket. Worthy.com/SHERI. Guys, yesterday after we finished working, my oldest daughter called me from school and said, "Mother, I have to show proof of my vaccine at school, and I have my vaccination card. Can you take a picture of it and send it to me?" I was like, "Of course I can, honey. Where is it?" And she goes, "Well, that's the problem. So here's where here's where it is. She packed a box that she forgot to take. And inside the box were all sorts of things, including her journal. And tucked inside the journal was her vaccine card, which she needed for school. So she's like, "It's in my journal. Are you going to read my journal?" And I said, "You know what, honey? I'm not going to read your journal because I know that it's going to be filled with page after page of how much you hate me and Kevin and how awful we are and how you can't wait to get away from us and live your own life. And you're sick of Kevin and his obsession with taking the trash out. And you're tired of me and always working and talking to the cats. And you can't wait to be independent and you can't wait to get away from me. Why would I want to read that?"
And she says, "You've already read it."
I was like, why would I want to read that and get my feelings hurt? And she starts laughing and she goes, "Well, actually, that whole journal is about what an ass my ex-boyfriend is, but whatever." But the thing is, like, I found her journal from middle school and I gave it to her. I did not open it and read it. And I said, "I found this when I was cleaning out the storage closet." And she was reading it to herself and crying, laughing, and came out into the living room and did a dramatic reading of her middle school journal. And there were whole sections devoted to, "I am so tired of my mom. She's like, no, you can't go to the mall today until your room is clean." And I'm like, "You think you're my boss?" I was like, "Well, I kind of was. Yeah, I am." So
that's very healthy, actually. To be able to laugh at yourself is one of the most important things in life. And, kids that age, young people that age sometimes have difficulty laughing at themselves. Now, she's out of that 17-year-old I know more than anyone in the world phase. Mostly boys go through that.
When did that happen? Was that overnight? I didn't get the memo.
I was just guessing. Perhaps I'm wrong. But that really is true. If you find somebody who can't laugh at themselves, move along because they're psychopaths.
Oh, they're going to be just hard to live with. A person
Totally.
that can't laugh at their own mistakes can be hard to live with.
Right.
The thing about reading, like, I don't think you should read somebody else's diary or journal. If I feared for my child's safety, if I thought she was involved in things that would put her at danger, I might read her journal. But to just read her journal while she's ranting about me and her stepdad or her sister or whatever, I don't want to do that. What do you think about that?
I had a girlfriend at one time many years ago, and she was struggling in several different areas. And so we moved along, and she left her journal at my house.
Did you take a peek?
And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I cracked it open. And what I read on the one page was enough for me to put it in the incinerator. It was just not that she was doing anything that horrible, but just the pain that I saw on that one page was such that I said, I do not belong going there, no matter what.
There's nothing funnier than your 8-year-old's journal. Like Karamia's journal from when she was 8. It's page after page of scathing indictments of her sister and her sister's awful behavior.
Right,
and she said this and she did that and she won't share and I hate her and I wish I was an only child. But to read an adult person's journal, first of all,
not a good idea.
If you do that and you get your feelings hurt, that's on you, right?
That's on you.
And some things, once you see them, you can never unsee them. No, thank you. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
So I was online, I found a thread, and the thread was, well, let me just read exactly how they set it up. What food or drink sucks, even if most people won't admit it? And I'm just going to burn through them, see if you agree with these folks. Number 1, red velvet cake. I agree that cream cheese frosting is good on anything. It's just, this is chocolate cake dyed red, and everybody goes crazy for it.
That kind of is what it is. Yeah, I can't deny it.
Next one, those flavored seltzer waters that have virtually no flavor. You know, they do have, it does taste a little bit like lime or lemon or raspberry or blackberry, but there's some sort of a metallic taste to it where there's not really enough flavor to give it flavor. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. It's kind of like they put some vodka in club soda and then waved a blackberry at it. That's
exactly. Yeah. That's what it tastes like. The next one, most American milk chocolate candies. The chocolate is so low quality, it's packed with a lot of sugar, and it doesn't even taste like chocolate sometimes.
It's waxy.
I agree completely. All right, this one here, truffle oil. Stop ruining fries, mac and cheese, and burgers, and then jacking up the price. I see through your crap. The whole truffle oil thing, I was unaware of truffles. I told you that Landon and Ramsey have their own truffle tree in France. They are such millennials, and they get sent truffles like twice a year. And they were sent it when they were visiting Mary and me, and the truffles came to the house. And oh my God, the celebration that night over truffles. We had truffles on pasta. We have truffles on ice cream. Holy moly. And it was good. And Ramsey did the cooking, but I don't get the whole it doesn't change the food for me like it does for some people. Comment on that.
I don't like truffle oil at all. At all. Not even.
You don't like the taste?
Yeah. No, I don't like it. And I've never had like real truffles in anything. So maybe I would like them, maybe I wouldn't, but I don't like truffle oil on stuff at all.
Next, Twizzlers. They look cool, but taste like plastic with cherry flavoring. I'm on the fence with that because as a kid, I loved Twizzlers so much. So I got nostalgia going there. But it's kind of true.
I've got a bag on my desk, and I'm going to need you to take those words back because it's strawberry, not cherry. It's actually vaguely strawberry flavored Naugahyde. Okay, so if you're going to insult Twizzlers, get it right.
Yeah. Oysters. They taste like sandy scum. Every time I say I don't like them, I get pressured to try again because clearly I didn't taste the good stuff. So I try again, and it tastes like sandy scum.
Amen.
How can you say that? It's like tasting the ocean. They're wonderful. Wonderful. All right, this one here. Oh, boba, which is that tea with bubbles in it. This person said, never once has anyone said while enjoying a refreshing beverage, man, it would be nice if my sips were occasionally interrupted by a bland gelatinous choking hazard.
My daughter loves bubble tea. We go get boba a lot. And you want to hear interesting fun fact. So a few days ago, we're driving to the boba place to get some. And Karamia said, I'm just so glad that ship is out of the Suez Canal. And I looked at my child and thought, well, here's a twist in the conversation I didn't see coming. I said, what in the world made you think of that? And she goes, Mom, when that ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, it caused a worldwide boba shortage. It's like,
are you kidding?
Yes.
That is so random.
So I look at her and I said, what? And Karamia goes, do you not understand, Mom, that the supply chain and logistics, it's interconnected all around the globe, and that ship caused a boba shortage?
Oh my God, this is like something out of a situation comedy.
It really is. And I thought...
With all the troubles that we have in the world,
a
bubbles and tea.
But it's fascinating that one ship captain making one navigation mistake caused Zoomers all over the world to not have gelatinous choking hazards in their iced tea. What a loss.
True. That's right.
Morons in the News is next. Absolutely next. Coming right up, it's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri.
You idiot.
Here they are.
He's a moron. He's acting like a complete idiot.
Morons in the News.
I'm going to admit up front that I don't have any mechanical ability when it comes to cars or really anything else. I'm one of those guys, if the car broke down, I'm on the side of the road and I get out and I lift up the hood and I look in and I go, I don't know what I'm looking at. That's why
there's an engine in here.
That's an engine. Oh, I have AAA for a reason. Even I am better than this first guy in Morons in the News. Emergency crews responded to an SUV that drivers spotted submerged in the Yakima River, but the Yakima County Sheriff's Office said the driver claims he did it intentionally. At about 11 in the morning, calls came in that said we saw a blue Suburban in the water of the Yakima River. Sheriff's deputies responded and found the vehicle in the water and the owner safely nearby. Yakima, by the way, for you don't know, it's in Washington State. According to the Yakima State Police, the owner of the vehicle told them he had replaced the thermostat in the vehicle. This is an expensive SUV. He replaced the thermostat in the vehicle and needed to fill the radiator with water. Deputies then said the driver told them he intentionally drove the SUV into the water so he could get water into the radiator.
One of the ways to know that you're a terrible criminal is if you find yourself telling everyone exactly what you're doing.
Well, I mean, it's his, so he's not really a criminal per se, but have you ever heard of anyone that said, I need some water in my car, I'm going to drive it into a river to fill it up? How stupid are you?
Well, I guess that's why he's in Morons in the News.
That is why. The vehicle had to be towed out of the river, and it's ruined.
You know, I say this knowing that at any moment my phone could ring with my daughter going, my radiator needed water, so I drove it into the river. That could happen to me. Today's
Thank you,
Moron...
KIMA Television in Spokane.
Today's Moron of the Day is the mayor of Nagoya City in Japan, who is at the center of an international incident. A member of Japan's gold medal winning softball team came home to her hometown to celebrate Mugoto's achievement at the 2020 Games. And the mayor of the city, Takashi Kawamura, pulled down his mask, took her gold medal, and chomped on it, leaving teeth marks in her gold medal, not to mention his saliva, and also that's gross. So with support from the International Olympic Committee, and according to the medalist's desires, her medal is going to be exchanged for a brand new one, and the Olympic Committee will eat the cost of that exchange. The mayor got tons of criticism for, one, disregarding coronavirus etiquette by pulling his mask down and putting someone else's belongings in his mouth. And two, he was criticized for showing a lack of respect for her winning the gold medal. And the Toyota company, which owns the softball team that she plays for, even rebuked the mayor. So if you want to see a picture of Mayor Takashi Kawamura, we're going to post this up on our Facebook in just a minute. He is today's moron of the day.
Well, there are morons all over the world, including in Great Britain, and they don't take it lightly, evidently, over there. Listen to how this is described. This is from the Daily Mail. An idiot holidaymaker was forced to watch helplessly as his van was washed away by the sea after he attempted to drive his vehicle close to the coastline. Hobbyist photographer Tim Curtis, 61, had been heading down to the Weston-super-Mare beachfront when he spotted a 7-seater Ford stuck in the sand and decided to capture the moment with an image. The images showed all 4 of the vehicle's wheels sinking into the sand as the helpless driver stood by on the phone. What happened was, the guy saw his kids down by the water and decided to drive down to be closer to them. As he was driving, the automobile started sinking. The construction contract manager explained he had no sympathy with the idiot because he didn't read the warning signs about beach driving. And he hopes that the man is forced to pick up the recovery bill. These people have absolutely no sense of sympathy whatsoever for what this guy did. I can't believe it. After about 100 feet on the beach, it's soft mud. But this moron kept driving the car, and he got stuck. Nobody can believe that he's that stupid.
You know, this isn't how the Good Samaritan story in the Bible went.
No.
As I recollect.
No.
And verily, the Good Samaritan gazed upon the hapless traveler and said, "What a fool," and went about his way. I mean, people, we have got to be better to each other.
They finish up saying, the idiot just walked away once the tide came in. You can see the cart that's sinking. I don't know where he went, but he probably went to a bar to get drunk. Right to the end, they're making fun of this poor guy. Now, he shouldn't have done that, but still, that's harsh. And that is Morons in the News. This is Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
Max got a DM from one of our listeners with this very funny TikTok video of a cat and a band. Can you explain it, Max?
So, her name is Laura Williams Viola, not the cat, the woman that sent it to us. Anyhow, this cat has this very unusual meow. And so you're going to hear that at the beginning. And then there's a guy that's playing bass, a guy doing percussion, and a woman playing violin in concert with the cat. And this is how it goes.
I like that way more than some songs that I've heard over the last.
If you just played this meow, I would have been happy.
I know.
You know what?
That was.
Go ahead.
Y'all think I'm snarky when I say this, but I have seen radio formats built on less than what that
true.
cat
No, it's very true.
can do.
You know what would be cool? You know what would be really cool? If you're really into kids coming to your house for Halloween, so if you had something that was that would fire when it senses that there's something moving coming up to your house, just picture the kids are walking up. Get ready to play that thing again, Max. Just picture them walking up, and all of a sudden they hear this on Halloween. They're getting closer to the house. What's that? Is that a drum with a kick? Now they're getting really closer to the house. Hello, children. And what are you? Oh, you're a ghost, are you? Well, welcome to the Lacey abode. It's perfect Halloween music.
I love it. It's perfect music, period. You know what? I'd rather hear this in some restaurants than what is it currently
playing
being
Hazard.
played.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Lucy, what did you think about that?
Yeah, that would drive dogs crazy, I think, actually.
That is actually my dog, Lucy Lou.
Wow. Wow.
All right, straight ahead, we're going to take you down the rabbit hole. If you're a fan of cooking shows like Top Chef and Chopped and all that, you're going to lose your mind for what we have for you next. Take it out, kitty cat.
It's the echo that really makes it.
It's Bob and Sheri.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. You know it's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy.
And it's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
It's the Bob and Sheri Store's Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale. Everything in stock is on sale, 10% off. 10% off! Including Sheri Lynch's cookbook, Cooking with Cats. And swag you can use, like Bob and Sheri 24-ounce latte mugs, travel mugs, H2Go water bottles, and our very hot line of mother of all mothers merch, including tote bags, candles, wear-around tee and sleeve shirts. 10% off! It's the Sizzling Summer Sidewalk Sale. Everything is 10% off. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com and use the discount code PODCAST at checkout. Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, go.
If you are a fan of Hell's Kitchen or Top Chef or Chopped or any of these cooking shows where chefs and cooks compete to be allowed to remain in the kitchen, you are going to love this. You know how on those shows, like when the judges are tasting the food, the music gets very ominous. And then if the contestant makes it through, the music gets very happy. Just remember that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Drew, come forward.
Yes, chef, this is a chicken quiche with cremini mushrooms, baby spinach, and feta cheese.
Unbelievable. Well, Drew, I have a huge problem with this dish. It's that you haven't made it for me sooner.
Thank you, chef.
Because if you had, Drew, then I would know how good you are at cooking food that's bad.
I'm sorry, chef.
And when I say bad, I mean Michael Jackson bad.
Thank you, chef.
You know how he looked really, really bad at the end of his life?
Chef, I'm sorry. I don't know if you like the dish or not.
You don't know if I like the dish or not? Well, let's put it this way. Pack your knives, get out, you're off the show.
Sorry, chef.
Because you should be working in the finest restaurant in the world.
Thank you, Chef.
Just not any world that I live in.
Sorry, Chef.
Because frankly, Drew, I'm jealous of you.
Thank you, Chef.
And your ability to not give a about what you cook. This is not fit for human consumption. No, this should be eaten by a higher life form with a more complex palate, but also an altruistic drive to save humanity from dishes like this. Joking. Not! You deserve to die! So you won't have to endure a life in which you will never exceed what you have achieved here today.
He stabbed him with a knife.
Thank you, Chef.
In conclusion,
we'll post this.
I love it. I just love that. The drama on those cooking shows.
We'll post this up on our Facebook so you can watch
And
it.
they do that all the time where you think, oh, they didn't really like it. Oh, they really did like it.
Yeah.
This captured it perfectly. All right, it's on the Bob and Sheri Facebook, which is also where you'll find our live virtual happy hour at 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. Pour your favorite drink and join us for an hour of cocktails and chatter on the Bob and Sheri Facebook, 7 o'clock Eastern. This is Bob and Sheri.
Congratulations, Sheri Lynch, named one of the most influential women in radio again this year. It's Bob and Sheri.
A woman posted this online. After being called a gold digger, she set the record straight. Should she go through with this marriage after you listen to what the situation is, or should she bail out? And here we go. My fiance and I have been together for about 6 years. We've been engaged for 2. After we got engaged, we sat down and had the deal breakers talk. Basically, things in our lives, our futures, hypothetical situations that leave little room for compromise, like do we want to adopt children, finances, family boundaries, religion, and so on. One of the things on my list was no prenup. I'm not here to debate with anybody else about their use. I just think that if you're preparing for divorce, even before you get married, it's a sign you're probably marrying the wrong person. He agreed, and everything was fine. Lately, his family, particularly his mother, keeps bringing up signing a prenup. I told her no many times, said this is an issue between us. We'll discuss it privately. We'll make our own decisions as a couple. He also tells her no, although more weakly. Well, the other night we went there for dinner and she brought out an actual prenup drafted by her lawyer. She put it in front of me after dinner and asked me to sign it. Obviously, I didn't even read it, let alone sign it. She then called me a gold digger. No one, including my fiance, stood up for me. So I stood up for myself. I told her that there is no gold to dig here. I make 4 times as much money as he makes. I'm an MD. He dropped out of college second year. I paid off all of my student debt. He has over $100,000 in debt. I have my own house, ample savings, and will certainly inherit more from my parents than he will. Why is she worried? That shut her up real quick. Especially when my sister-in-law then said, if anything, he's the gold digger here. My fiance is now angry with me. He said it was emasculating for his family to know I'm so much more successful than he is. And his brothers are making jokes, and they changed his contact info to gold digger. Personally, I don't think I was rude or out of line, but he thinks I was an a-hole, and I could have handled it better. Should I get out of this? What do you think?
Here's the thing. Yes, I think that you probably should, but I don't think that she will or he will. I think that they'll go forward because this is one of those moments, and we've all had them in our own lives, where you can see all of the ingredients on the table for what will become the toxic and devastating breakup. They're all lined up, right? But
they are.
it is human nature to believe that you can take that pile of toxic ingredients and make something good out of it. And so I think there's so much going on here. I mean, I had a hard time following all this drama, to be honest with you. Who thinks who is doing what to who and how? But yeah, there once upon a time I would have thought, you know what? Love will find a way. And now I'm listening to this and I'm going, you know what? You need Netflix and a cat.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I felt too, especially since he didn't stand up for her to his mother. He should have said, way before this got to this point, she's an MD and she's got some money and she doesn't, want anything from me. I don't know how the mother, didn't realize that, as a doctor, it's a pretty good job. You're married. She has no bills.
You're marrying someone who may be a wonderful human being, but the family does not like you. So you're going to have to get right with that. That's what this comes. Yeah. I think that's what this comes down to.
You think so?
This is not so much about money and stuff as it is Mama doesn't like her. Does not like her. And that is
thought about that.
And that's what you're and that's okay. I mean, plenty of people are in that situation and they're perfectly happy and they find a way to navigate it. If you're good with it, then go forward. If you are someone that can't stand all this family tension and being despised by your husband's mother, then you might want to rethink it. Not that anybody does.
I wonder what the percentage is of people who bail out on a relationship because the family doesn't like this person.
I'm going to go with about 2%.
Again, because that low? Oh, yeah, I think it's higher than that.
Nah, I think it's about 2% because we always think that we can change it, we can fix it, we can improve it, it'll get better, it won't be that much trouble. That's the wonderful and frustrating thing about being a human being is that we have this endless reservoir of optimism and hope no matter what reality throws at us. It's beautiful and it's exhausting.
But there are people that are so tied to their family, their mother, their father, their uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters especially, that bringing somebody into the family that doesn't fit is a deal breaker.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I don't think it's that common. I would be amazed if you sat 100 strangers down in a room, if more than 2 or 3 of them would have ended a relationship over this. Max, what do you think?
I was going to say that 2% seemed a little bit low. I think it's higher than that.
Yeah.
I think it is higher than that.
Right.
Just based on the drama that I see unfolding on Facebook, where I knew your mother and sister hated me from the beginning. I should have dumped you, and now I'm taking your truck. I see a lot of that. A lot of it. But who knows?
I think that people don't get to the point that they get married because of that. I think there's a lot of that goes on, too.
I have never been in a situation where a parent, whether it was a girlfriend or a wife, where my parents really jumped in there and said, I'm not liking what I'm seeing with this one here. Never had that happen.
My family never liked anybody, which I always thought was kind of amazing because have you looked at us? No, seriously, like there's a mirror out there by the door. Let's go all stand in front of it. Like, what are you doing? But, who knows? I know there are a ton of divorce attorneys right now that are screaming at the radio saying, shh, shh.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm losing money on that one. Yeah, that's right. It's Bob and Sheri.
The Fun Size Podcast, the shareable bite-sized portion of the show. Get it by texting Fun Size to 888-BOB-SHERI.
It is time now for your Throwback Thursday classic edition of Everyone Needs a Laugh, sponsored by Panera. And it's funny because we were just talking about marriage a few minutes ago. So here is Sinbad on marriage.
We all want something else other than what we have and don't realize what you got works. It works. It does work. You got to work. Marriage is work. Marriage is a career. It's not an adventure. You do more before 5 than most folks do all day. It's like the military. My wife and I, we're together about 6-7 years. We're married. We divorced for 10-11 years. Now we're back together, married 8 years. Because we're both so damaged, we can't be with nobody else. We had to come back home. Once you've been married to each other, you're trained. I'm trained. I ain't got time to train nobody else. She ain't got time to train nobody else. Everybody's jacked up. Go back to when you had. I thought you was crazy. Everybody crazy. I know you're crazy. I can deal with your crazy. And all you men out here 55 years old trying to date some girl 20 like she like you. Are you out your mind? She wants your house. I don't see no 20-year-old girls with a broke down 55-year-old man with no money. You don't see no girl 20. Oh, look at the homeless dude, but he's cute. Hey. She wants you to die. If you keep messing with her, you will. You want a woman that understands the signs of stroke. That's what I'm looking for. A woman that got my medication in her purse. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. I thought you took it. I thought I did. You want a woman that's your nurse. See, if you go to dinner with a woman that's 55 years old and your little lip curl up, she know what to do. Hey. Jamal, look at me. Jamal, look at me. She'll get you to a hospital and save your life. But a girl 20, quit making faces at me. It's not funny anymore. Now you all stroked out for the rest of your life because your little cute girlfriend didn't know the signs of stroke. She come visit you in the hospital. I didn't know what a stroke was. I tried to tell you. I don't understand you. I had a stroke. Well, can I have your house now? Since you can't live there no more.
Oh, that's dark. Holy cow.
It's so dark.
It's dark, but it's so funny.
He was funny.
So true.
Yeah.
That is Sinbad on marriage, and you can check that out. All the comedians we feature, everything that's on our website. Sign up for our newsletter, win prizes, be a better human being at BOBANDSHERI.com. Still to come on today's show. How would you like to find out from Facebook that you're married to a bigamist? Ooh. You ain't his only wife. It's coming up. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
I just saw a news story that was carried by a television station, WCNC, and I fell in love with the woman who they featured. She lives in Rockland, Maine, which is a working harbor town. It's not a touristy town. It's lovely, but it's a working harbor, and the working part is lobstering. So let's just listen to a little bit from this broadcast that they picked up from, I think, a Maine TV station about this woman.
Virginia Oliver has spent more than a century working on and living close by the water. It's what she knows best and where she feels most at home.
I'm 101.
Virginia, or Ginny as her friends call her, has been lobstering the waters off Rockland on and off for the last 9 decades.
They call me the lobster lady.
She doesn't do it alone.
15 years Mac and I have been lobstering. See, my husband died 15 years ago.
Her 78-year-old son, Max,
Maxwell Eugene Oliver Jr.,
drives his late father's boat.
I'm getting old too.
Mother and son working in quiet harmony.
My father was a lobster dealer.
Salt water and sea air running through her veins. During all her years on the ocean, she's only had one injury. It happened recently.
I was saving crabs to take home to my son-in-law. Crab bit me, and I had to have 5 stitches. It would have bit the end right off and been a bone in my finger.
The doctor tried to admonish Virginia.
He said, well, what are you doing lobstering anyway? That's because I want to. I didn't care if he was a doctor or a boy.
At 101, Virginia lives in the same house where she raised her 4 children.
Well, Max stays with me at night, and I get the meals. I make cake, and brownies, and donuts, and give it to the kids. I usually bake beans on Saturday, and they come for supper.
She drives her pickup truck to the grocery store almost every day and lobsters 3 times a week.
You just have to, keep going. Otherwise, you wouldn't you'd be in a wheelchair or something. You wouldn't be able to move if you didn't.
Her hard work and independence have given her a long and healthy life.
Yeah, she's a great mom.
Out on the coast of Maine. When do you think you're going to stop lobstering?
When I die.
Good
Wow.
Lord.
Wow.
I love the ending. What a woman. She is
101 years old.
Yeah, the video has her piloting the boat. Boat's about, I'd say, 28 feet maybe. And she hauls the lobsters up by her, not just her son doing it, who's in the spry old age of 78, but she hauls some of them up too. She is just amazing. I just love that lady.
It's just incredible how different people are. Some people at 101 are still out basically in the freezing North Atlantic pulling up lobsters. And some people at 41 they've just given up, just waved the white flag.
Yeah, it's true. I knew this guy, and at the age of about 41, he decided that the main thing in his life was television. And I used to go over and visit with one of my ex-wives, my first wife. His wife was a friend of hers, and we walk into the house, and it became a running gag that he would always be there in front of the TV, and he wouldn't get up to say hello. He'd smile, but he would keep one eye on the television. The television was his, and you could tell his wife had just about had it. I don't know what happened to them long term, but to your point, it's true. There are folks that just sort of give up moving around at a very early age. Not this lady.
They give up on themselves. And the thing is so much of it is attitude. Like this woman is blessed with good genes and obviously, good health. Yeah. So she's got a lot going for her, but she also has like an awesome attitude. And so much of it comes down to that.
I think you're right. And, I think it probably has been good for her to be out in that fresh, cold air with that sea breeze and the smell of the ocean. That could not have hurt her.
See, my family heard this today and they're thinking to themselves, we could help mom around this place, but it's good for her. It keeps her active and busy. Sure, we could get the mold out of our own shower, but look how much she enjoys it, the old girl. Give her that Tylex spray. Let's keep her going.
Yeah, exactly. God knows what would happen to her if she had to stop cleaning toilets.
Oh, yeah. She'd just be sitting around drinking wine and enjoying the fruits of her labor. Mom, you're only as young as you feel. Yeah.
I'll tell you where you see people like this, and that is on hiking trails. Because there's people in their 80s, and I am struggling to get up the mountain. I'm thinking, oh, man, I may die first. And they've got their little tracking poles, and they're going, bup, 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 hi, bup, 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 bup. And I'm like, how are you doing that at that age?
I think Sheri was right. Some of it is genes, but the other thing is it's like, who was it? Dick Van Dyke said he's like in his 90s now, and he's still performing. And somebody asked him, how do you do it? And he says, I just keep moving. You got to keep moving. And I think that's the case with this 101-year-old lady who's still a lobster woman.
I'm just glad. I'm just glad my kids love me enough to make sure I never stop moving. That's mine, right, girls? You love me? You love mommy.
You're so blessed. You're so blessed.
So lucky. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, sponsored by Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Credit Card. You can earn 3% cash back on online shopping, making the essentials even more rewarding. Here's Bob and Sheri.
It is Talkback time, and we love to hear from y'all. There's lots of ways you can do it. If you have our app, it's the easiest way because you just kind of tap on the little microphone at the bottom of the screen and talk. You don't have to do anything else, and your words will fly magically through the air. The app is free in Google Play and the Apple Store. And right before we go to today's Talkback, I've had a bunch of DMs and messages asking me about Worthy. So Worthy is this amazing company that I found that you can sell your jewelry. Like maybe it's an old engagement ring you're not wearing, wedding band, something you got handed down from a mom or a grandma. It's not your jam.
Oh, yeah.
You'd love to sell it, but you don't know where to go, right? Like who do you go to locally? Where do you even begin? With Worthy.com, you can get up to double what you'll get locally, and it's super easy. You schedule a safe, secure pickup. They fully insure it by Lloyd's of London, no cost to you. Their expert gemologists appraise it. You know what it's really worth. It goes up for auction to their exclusive network of buyers. And then when it sells, you get paid immediately. Worthy.com/SHERI. That's Worthy.com/Sheri. All right, let's hit that talk back.
Hi, Bob and Sheri. I was just listening to your podcast, and you were talking about Quentin Tarantino and not giving a penny to his mother because she, words have consequences. And then how Sheri, had those words from her father and went and got a master's degree. Well, it's not my dad, but it's a math teacher. I was in his class, and I was failing, so I was just bringing a book every day and not, but I wasn't studying. I was just reading something completely different. I knew I was failing, but I didn't want to affect my attendance for university. And he kept me after class one day, and he asked me what I was going to do with my life. And I said I was going to go to university. And he said, "You think you're going to pass a university course if you can't even pass a math class in high school?" And I said, "Well, I already am being accepted." So I went to university for 4 years, and every time I had an exam or anything, I just kept that in mind, that I just couldn't live with myself if I failed something, and gave him reason to be right. So anyways, 4 years later, I graduated with a degree in criminology, and I drove over to my hometown. It was like 2 hours away, and I hand delivered a little note that, like, with all my credentials that I had earned, and I gave it to the secretary, and I said, "Hi, could you leave this for so-and-so?" So anyways, I hope that it, made its way to him. I've since graduated from a social work school, so, he was never right, and I'm just glad that he said that to me and not a student that would have been discouraged, because it was a great motivator for me, and anger is a hell of a fuel.
Wow, that's what an interesting call. One of the things that jumped out at me there was it was like she was in England. She referred to college as I'm going to university.
I think she's Canadian.
Is she Canadian?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet
that's
she's
right.
Canadian.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Is there
she found a university where they said you don't need math to get in, I guess, right?
Is there any higher octane fuel than spite? Is that not one of the great motivators?
I know.
Can I defend the teacher for a second? She was showing up to class, but she wasn't doing anything. And so I mean, it's true. So
she admitted that.
If that is what was your impetus, then fine, you got the final result. But the only thing about carrying anger as a fuel is it's very flammable, and you might blow yourself up with it.
Well, it's true, but like any fuel, Max, when you find yourself in crisis, you can dump your fuel for a safe landing, yes, or you can use that fuel to burn you all the way into orbit, which it sounds like she did. I agree. I think it's dangerous to be motivated by anger
all the time.
But sometimes and she's right. She said something interesting, that she was glad that he didn't say that to someone who would have been more easily defeated. Because sometimes when a person tells you, you can't do this, you don't have what it takes, you're never going to make it, then that does motivate you. But there are people that hear that and they go, well, I guess you're right. And they give up.
There are two sides to that coin. I do hear what Max is saying. If I've dedicated my life to being a teacher, and I look out, and no offense to our listener, we love you. I'm just going to make a point here. And I look out, and somebody is reading a book, a novel, or whatever during my math class, and they're not passing, and they're not trying to pass. I don't know. That kind of irritates me a little bit. I might have said something too, but then again, she got the impetus to get into college and to succeed. She found a college that I guess didn't have a math requirement. So I guess everybody's winning, huh?
I didn't have, it's not that the college doesn't have a math requirement, it's your major. Because I didn't take any math as an undergraduate.
You didn't have with an SAT or they didn't look at the SATs with your math scores at the college? Because most colleges, you have to take some math.
I did not take a single math class as an undergraduate or a graduate student. Now, my math SATs, here's what my SATs were so lopsided that when they looked at them, it was like, here's someone who has like an almost perfect verbal score but can't count to 10. Is this a human girl, or is this a talking chicken? What is this, right?
Right.
So not every major, like Karamia doesn't have any math, right? Olivia took one basic math class because they're not they're not STEM majors. Now, if you're a STEM major, you can't be failing high school math.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's not. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. And look, she used that to be inspired and not to
That's
be.
right.
That's right. Is it Oprah or Maya Angelou who taught us, don't be bitter, be better? Who taught us that? Is that Oprah or Maya Angelou? It's one of them. Anyway.
That was Brittany. That was actually Brittany.
Yeah. Possibly it's Dr. Phil. I don't know. Don't be bitter, be better. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
It's so funny. My dog is so funny. He'll sleep all night long. Finn will sleep all night long. And he sleeps in various places. He might sleep in what used to be Madison's room because he misses her. He might sleep at the foot of our bed or in his little dog bed or whatever. But I get up, and he gets up with me. All right? So Mary's still sleeping. He gets up with me. And I let him out, and I feed the cat, watch her eat, and get the coffee and all. And then I come into the studio, my sunroom studio, to work. And if she's not working, he comes in with me and lies down. He's right behind me, lying down on the rug, and he goes to sleep. And he does the same thing with Mary. If Mary is up first and she has a client early, he goes in with her. He's already slept all night long. He goes in with her. She starts, teleconferencing, and he goes to sleep. And she says he's coming to work with me, and he goes to sleep while she's working. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good life. You sleep all night long, and then you go into a room, and while someone else works, you sleep. And I said, I've seen that sort of circumstance before in my life, where I work. Well, I work and someone else sleeps.
Yes. Yeah. Where have we seen that before?
I can't figure it out. I just can't figure it out. All right. I absolutely love this story. Here's the headline: Huge rubber mystery in Belfast, Maine. Belfast, Maine is a coastal town. I've been there several times. And it's wonderful. It's a working harbor, meaning they have lobster fishermen boats. They've got pleasure crafts. It's a lovely harbor. You walk down toward the harbor. On either side of the street, there are restaurants and bars, and it's lovely. It's really lovely. And then on the other side of the river, there's a fantastic lobster pound where you eat lobster rolls looking at the water on picnic benches. So that's the idea. Historic town. When the fog cleared the other day in Belfast, Maine, people looked out on the harbor, and there was a giant rubber duck that is floating in the harbor. The rubber duck, I'm looking at two people in a small boat next to, and they're dwarfed by the rubber duck. And it's the traditional rubber duck that you see with Bert and Ernie. It's giant, it's yellow with an orange beak, and it lists back and forth. I think it has been anchored, but been given a line, so it's floating around the harbor. When I say it's giant, I'm going to guess it's probably 30 feet high and 40 feet long. It's like a yacht, and it's bright yellow, and on its chest is the word joy. And
I love it.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. People heard about it who were visitors to Maine during, it's the vacation season. And word got out, and people have been diverting off of 95 to go to Belfast to see and take pictures of the rubber duck in the harbor. Whoever came up with that is a genius. I'm wondering if it's the town mothers and fathers to get tourists to come and see this beautiful harbor, or if it's just somebody with, a whimsical sense of humor.
Wouldn't it be great if it was an eccentric billionaire who, instead of flying to outer space on an adult novelty toy,
I know,
said, you know what would make people smile if giant rubber ducks just started appearing randomly in places.
And the words joy on the front.
Yeah.
It's so whimsical. Usually I'm not into whimsical. Like if I see a man wearing a Winnie the Pooh sweatshirt, I don't like that too much. I'm not a real whimsical sort of guy. But I love this. This is just the best whimsical of all time. So
this is the kind of thing, whoever did this, who's ever responsible, this is the kind of thing that makes people happy.
Yes.
And it's so low impact. It can't be cheap, right, to have a giant floating duck.
No,
I'm going to hope it's an eccentric billionaire. Straight ahead. How do you like your vengeance? Do you like it ice cold, or do you like it smoking hot and skidding in on two wheels? That's next. It's Bob and Sheri.
You read it once.
I don't believe that.
And then you read it again.
I can't believe this.
It's Bob and Sheri's.
I don't believe this.
I cannot believe this.
Bob, what's that old saying about revenge?
Best served cold.
Yeah, revenge best served cold. And why is that? Because you want to take time to strategize your vengeance, and you also want to catch the recipient of your vengeance unawares so that it has a greater sting. Revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, afraid not in the US of A. Americans cannot stand to wait to have their vengeance cold. More than half of us want it smoking hot and served up immediately. And this is according to Virginia Commonwealth University, who's like, Americans need to calm down and pace themselves on revenge. It turns out that 58% of us really want it hot and now instead of cold and calculated. And here is how much some people want their revenge. When they're given a choice between vengeance and money, they're like, yeah, no, I want the vengeance. Now that's saying something. Are you kidding? Yeah, that's saying something right there. And clinging to the hopes of vengeance was more valuable to these people than money was. Like, they're way about the vengeance. Now, here is how you can get people to slow down. And let's just all agree that vengeance is terrible, and probably not something you should chase. So we'll just get that out there, that this is not great, healthy behavior. But for people that want their vengeance hot and now, like a Krispy Kreme donut, if you sit them down and say, wait, I want you to think about what happened that you're so upset about, that you want revenge for. Just really sit and think about it. When they sit and think about it, a big chunk of them go, yeah, you're right. Vengeance is best served cold. And they'll slow down and delay their revenge seeking if they just sit and think about it, which is the opposite, right, of what you thought would happen. Somebody's really angry and you go, yeah, tell me about it. I want you to think about how mad you are. You would think that would make them more likely to go fly off the handle, but it's just the opposite.
Well, I believe this because we've become so accustomed in our country to instant gratification, whether it's getting a pizza delivered to the house, whether it's on demand on television, especially. We're just used to having it now. But you are right, or whoever these researchers are, you are right. It is best served cold most of the time. I had a situation where I was as mad as hell over something, but I knew if I played it a certain way, it would work out for me better financially. And it did. And it was hard for me to step away like it is, I guess, for most folks and say, I'm going to let this go right now. But in the circumstance that I'm talking about, it worked out a lot better. We're just not a society that wants to wait for anything.
Well, here's what they found, that the majority of people would rather have a little bit of vengeance now rather than wait for more vengeance later, which is kind of a funny thing to think about, right? But
as long as there's vengeance, as long
as I get some vengeance, I'll settle for a small portion. Here's what you want to pay attention to. The people that are willing to wait for extreme vengeance served ice cold, these are people you need to be frightened of, because
it's true.
They're far more sadistic and antagonistic, and they have much more self-control.
They're playing the long game. Yeah. They're playing the long game, and not everybody can do that.
What you want is Yosemite Sam. You do not want somebody who is capable of patiently waiting for their moment. And now I have saved this because this is one of my favorite things that I've stumbled across in a long time. And of all the places to find it, it's toward the end of this study out of Virginia Commonwealth University. And here's what the sentence is. Quote, human life often entails just one provocation after the other. End quote. So, how you've always felt that and believed it. And sometimes you'll say it and somebody will go, like Bob will say, God, human life is just adult. It's just one hassle after another. And someone will go, oh, Bob, now you stop being so negative. Oh, no, Bob, it's official. Human life is one aggravating provocation after another.
How many times have we as human beings gone through something that's been really irritating? The IRS wants more money from you. They want you to work on weekends, whatever it may be. And you throw your hands up in the air and you say, when does this end? And I have discovered the answer is never.
That's the answer.
That whole thing, I heard a commercial the other day where this older couple, it was on TV actually, and I've heard it on radio. This older couple is saying, a friend of ours told us that he sold his life insurance, and we had no idea. Who knew? He sold it back and got some cash, and we started saying, maybe we should look into that. Who knew? So we sold it back, and now we can take our time relaxing with our retirement. And I want to go, you. They're sitting there with this beautiful backyard, and the guy's got a light blue sweater on, his wife has a dress on, and they're drinking iced tea, and it's like, yeah, we're at our retirement where every day is relaxing. Listen, I know some retired people, and it ain't that way for them.
Unless you're wealthy or you had some weird,
really
now extinct benefits plan.
Yeah, or if you had kids that all grew up perfect and nobody got into some sort of slam, right?
Yeah. So, but now we're in fairy tale land, right?
Right.
Just remember this, folks. It's not your imagination. Human life is one provocation after another.
And I have an example. Of that, and I will share it with everyone today.
All right, I'm going to get this up on our Facebook so you can go check it out. And think about letting it cool off a little bit before you get that vengeance. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
I don't know this morning if you heard some noise in the background. I have the doors open to my sunroom studio, and Mary is packing up Madison's stuff. She's been with us all summer, working hard as a server in local restaurants, and she saved a lot of money. And she had a good summer, but a hard-working summer. And it's not that she's just going back to college like her brother. She is moving into her first big girl apartment. She is leaving the house. She is leaving our house even as I speak. The dog is going to have to be sedated. He already has, whenever he sees, furniture or clothing being moved into a car, he gets very, very nervous. Mary's going to be helping her set up with her new place. Hampton will be leaving, going to college. And they're ready to go right now. And I want to call her in. Madison? And Mary can come in too. Hey.
Hi.
Are you all packed up?
Yep, all packed up.
So, what do you think? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous too because
Why?
I've never lived on my own before. So, but it's exciting.
Well, you did great saving all that money. So never call us again for $1, okay?
Okay.
No, actually, my wallet is in the kitchen. Take some money for gas.
Heard that.
Yeah. So
I want to know how Mary's doing because I'm just crushed at this, just thinking about this.
Sheri wants to know how you're doing with this because she dropped Olivia off and she's just crushed with it. How are you handling it?
It hasn't hit me yet because we're still packing the car in the rain and we're both kind of agitated. So I think it'll be when I leave Charlotte it'll hit me.
Mary, I started ugly crying at the day I dropped, because I was informed, of course, by mine that I am never living at home again, which I believe, by the way. She's a junior in college. I think we're done. I ugly cried from 1:00 in the afternoon till 10:00 at night. I couldn't open my eyes when the alarm went off the next morning.
Well, thanks for planting that seed.
But no, here's the thing, Bob. It's such a blow because you're wrestling with this. You had it gradually and then all at once, it's real. There's no more gradual. There's no more training wheels. It's real.
Well, that's true. It's the natural order of things. But unlike you, I just unloaded somebody off of the payroll. So there's mixed emotions, Sheri.
No, I hear that too. Well, you guys have a safe trip. Madison's going to, that girl's going to fly. She's going to do great.
She's going to do great. Thank you for, I'm going to start getting emotional.
You're not allowed to cry. You always make fun of me when I cry. You're not allowed to cry.
Thank you for living with us for 12 years, hon.
Yeah, you've been a great stepdad, Bob.
Thank you.
Oh God, now we're all crying.
Thanks for living with us.
Well, it's been great. It's been great. All right, drive carefully.
Oh my God.
She's such a great kid. She is such a great kid.
Now, let's open up the Bob and Sheri Archive Vault.
We're talking about going bonkers at a kids' event.
Amazing call.
Now, Ann, you were coaching. What was the sport?
I coached soccer at the middle school and high school for years and years and years, and I was on the receiving end of all these idiot sticks. One particular soccer game, one of the players' fathers went ballistic, yelling at his daughter that was on my team.
Mm-hmm.
I went right up to the bleachers, and they had to keep me from climbing over the bleachers to keep from slapping the crap out of him.
He was yelling at his own daughter?
Yes. It was horrible. I don't understand how these parents can do that to their kids.
How did someone know that you were going to slap this man as you approached him?
Oh, well, they saw me.
Were you yelling things like Grandma at him?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I was about ready to go up in the stands and just grab him and just... Mm-hmm. All the years that I coached soccer, the worst part was the parents.
Mm-hmm.
They would scream and holler at the kids all the time.
Are the men
understood that?
Are the men worse than the women generally?
No.
No.
The women were just as bad. I have been in situations where I was in a parking lot and the other team was coming after me. It was horrible.
What were they doing coming after you, Ann?
They were yelling and screaming, and I had to get on the bus very, very quickly.
Because your team won?
Uh-huh.
And they thought it was unfair?
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask, in all the kids' games you've been to, have you ever seen this? Have you ever
I've never seen anything this
the
bad.
Departing team menaced like this?
No, I've never seen that, but I have seen parents cheering their team on in a way that was overly enthusiastic, is the only way I can put it. And then you feel almost obliged to match them. If you're a parent, but not. I've seen heckling.
Have you
I've
been
never done
heckled
that.
by opposing parents?
Of course.
I have not, but I've seen my kids heckled by opposing.
They had to stop games because of all the stuff that was going on.
You know, I find that the refs take the most abuse from parents.
And some of it's deserved.
There's a coach speaking. That's a coach speaking right there.
Oh, I have gotten in many altercations with referees before. I'm not a very big person. I'm very short and don't weigh a whole lot. And I have gone face-to-face with referees before on the field.
Wow. You don't seem like the kind of person, Ann, to break all bad with a ref. I guess the coaching brings it out in you, right?
Normally, I'm a pacifist. I'm very calm normally. But when it comes to my kids that were my team playing on the field, I would do anything for them. And when I see something that wasn't going right, I'm in their faces. When I was on the field, I have gone round and round with parents and opposing parents and referees and everybody. And I enjoyed it so much.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, and nice talking with you.
Y'all have a good day.
All right, we will. Bye.
We're going to go over to Angela now at 1-888-BOB. Sheri, this was your son in football, Angela?
Yes, my son plays football locally where we live. He's 8, but he was 7 at the time. And he plays through, like one of those leagues. It's not exactly through the schools because they're still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a town where there's 2 high schools. So the way that they divide the kids up is they basically, what school they would be zoned to go to is the team that they're on. And it's named after it's the same mascot as the high school.
Right.
And it is amazing because the 2 teams are not allowed to play each other. They're allowed to play every other team in the league, but they are not allowed to play each other because the rivalry is so bad.
I could see that. I mean, that's a terrible idea to have the little ones with that school rivalry at that age.
And the thing is it's not really the kids, it's the parents.
Yeah. Well, the parents went to one school or the other, and they have, that's their alma mater.
Almost every game there was, probably every other game there was a parent that was thrown off the field, either, like the opposing team. They were constantly heckling the referees. And, we sign a code of ethics. All of the parents have to sign a code of ethics that they're going to behave at the games, but it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
You know what your town needs at your local rec field? You need a jail like the Philadelphia Eagles have at their stadium.
That's right.
You do.
It's crazy, but you know what? We had a great time with him playing, and he enjoyed it, and I've already signed him up for next year because it was great.
And you behaved yourself.
Oh, absolutely, I did. It was my son's first year, and he doesn't do real well when you're going, "What's wrong with you?" So I try to be, pretty supportive.
As much like Yosemite Sam as I am, I could never misbehave at a football or soccer game because I don't know the rules. Like, I wouldn't know when to heckle my kid.
If I was playing football out there and one of my parents yelled, "What's wrong with me?" it would be a long time out. You know what I mean? Where do you want me to begin, Dad?
I didn't have to play sports for my parents to ask me what the bleep was wrong with me. Believe me.
Do you really, Angela? Do you really ask that? What's wrong with you?
I don't, but I'm not kidding. It happens more than you'd believe. Or, I can't believe you missed that ball. What are you blind? Come on.
I love the way she does it. I love the way she does it. You're really good. That's
You
funny.
guys have a good day.
All right,
You
Angela.
too.
Bye.
You can hear more from the Bob and Sheri archives at bobandsheri.com.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
I have always been a person that doesn't do well when there's something hanging over my head, whether it's a trip to the doctor and, you're worried about, am I going to be okay? I haven't had a doctor's appointment in a year, haven't had a checkup in a year. Hope I'm going to be okay. And then you're fine and you walk out. Woo! I feel so much better. Or, if there's a problem with your insurance, are you really covered? Or have you been canceled and you didn't know you were I just don't like loose ends. I would hate to be Prince Andrew right now because, as we all probably know, he has been removed from royal duties. They can't have him out there anymore because of all of the allegations that are floating around. And now, officials in New York, want to get him on trial. He's being sued, as Sheri said. So the royal family has just said, well, he's one of our big guns, but I think he's done. Whether or not he gets in any trouble jail-wise or financially, I think he's done as far as being a public figure for that family. They've lost another one.
Well, and it's not looking great for him on his side of the pond either, because Scotland Yard, the head of Scotland Yard, and this was a few days ago, and I haven't followed the story closely because this is more in the British press and on UK websites than on American. But Scotland Yard said the British police are prepared to assist detectives, American law enforcement, in investigating and reviewing these charges and allegations.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you? I'm not saying that the castle can shut down something like this, but I would think that Scotland Yard might think twice before making the offer, but I guess I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, let's see what happens. And I'm assuming this is someone with law enforcement at Scotland Yard. Her name is Dame Cressida Dick, which I like a lot as a name, Cressida Dick.
How can you not?
She said, nobody is above the law. As a result of what's going on, I've asked my team to have another look at this material. We are open to working with the authorities overseas. We will give them every assistance if they ask us for anything within the law. Obviously, this is very different than what was happening just a few months ago where because I remember we talked about it on the show and we were like, the FBI wants to talk to you. Now, granted, you're not an American citizen. So what's going to happen here? And because of the relationship between like the US government and the British government, like, are they going to really press? Well, whether or not they really pressed, finally, law enforcement on that side is saying, yeah, we're going to have to open this up and look at it.
As much as he has the beautiful homes, the castles that he's allowed to use, the hunting lodges, the ski trips to the Alps, all of those things, as much as he has, I think life has got to be miserable with this over your head. And one would think the rest of his life, if he's lucky.
He's done. I mean, he's, as a public figure, as a working royal, he's done. He's done for the rest of his life.
There's no rehabbing this.
Nope.
And you know, it's not just the fact that he is disgraced. It's also it's going to be hard to walk into a restaurant in London and not have the possibility, at least, of someone coming over and getting right in his face. I know he has security, but you can be 12 feet away and you can call him something. And that is always going to be a possibility.
You know, he is said to be the Queen, his mother's favorite child. And you know that as a parent, no matter what your kid does, no matter how much you condemn the behavior, it's your child. You're always going to love your child. Yeah. He has put the Queen, the royal family, the British Parliament, his ex-wife Fergie, his daughters, he has put them into such an impossible position.
It's totally untenable. I know. It's awful. He just has to, I guess, stay home, stay on the estate. You're a non-person to the royal family at this point.
Well, the word is, and I don't know how true this is, right? But the word is, he lives in this royal lodge on the grounds of Windsor Castle, and he has a 75-year lease. He gets to live there for 75 years. He had to do, like, I think $7.5 million worth of renovations or whatever. But William and Charles are, according to inside sources at the palace, are said to be eyeing Prince Andrew's house for themselves. So any of us, you don't have to have a royal family. If you come from a family, you know how this kind of stuff works. I do not think that Prince Andrew is long for that house.
Well, it just, for me, just being a prisoner in a gilded cage would be just a miserable life. Not being able to go to restaurants, not being able to go on a vacation, always being on point that somebody could come up and just scream at you.
I don't feel any pity at all for the Duke of York, but I do feel for his family.
It was arrogance.
I feel it for his kids and his grandkids and his mom. I feel it for his family.
It was criminal. It wasn't just arrogance. It was criminal.
It was criminal.
But the arrogance opened up the possibilities for the criminal activities.
That when I that podcast I've been talking about, Chasing Ghislaine, it's on Audible. It's free if you have an Audible membership. She ends that podcast. It's a reporter for Vanity Fair who did it. She ends that podcast by saying, this story with Prince Andrew is many things, but first and foremost, it's about the hidden structures of male power and how easy it is when you're wealthy and powerful to have and do whatever you please and get away with it.
Yeah.
Until you get caught. It's Bob and Sheri.
Get Lamar's reviews sent to your phone and qualify for a Fandango gift card. Text MOVIE to 888-BOB-SHERRY.
You guys, I have a wild story for you that's like right out of a Hollywood movie. Russian police have arrested their top hypersonic missile scientist and charged him with treason for passing secrets to a NATO country. Secrets.
I love the guy. I love that guy.
He's 73 years old. He is one of the top rocket scientists in Russia. He works on these hypersonic missiles, which, I'll be honest, I'm not sure what a hypersonic missile is, but it sounds real scary and awful. Okay? He's been charged with passing secrets to an as yet unnamed NATO country. This guy is the real deal. He's a professor.
I think a hypersonic rocket is designed. A missile is designed to go so fast that if we had a system that could shoot down rockets, and we do, this would penetrate. It could not be shot down.
Listen, this guy is the real deal. He's a professor at St. Petersburg Polytechnic. He's the director of the Hypersonic Systems Research Institute. He's written over 120 scientific papers. He holds patents. He holds copyrights. And he is charged with leaking the secrets of these hypersonic missiles.
Sometimes
it's going to cost him his life if they find him guilty.
Yeah, we need to send James Bond or a real-life version of it in to rescue him. It's always taken for granted that if you're a scientist working for, an evil dictatorship like Russia is, that you're, behind the whole political movement there. And that's never the case. Most of these guys are, they're just into science. And then they're told what they have to do. It was like that with the Nazis, trying to be the first ones to get an atomic bomb and making their scientists come up with these rocket bombs that they had. But as soon as they could, they came over to the West. And that's probably what he was trying to do. He's probably saying, I'm 70 years old. I want to do something right before I die.
Here is what was about to happen. The Russians are getting ready to test fire something called the Sarmat Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. It is a deadly hypersonic 208-ton missile. Do you know what its nickname is? Satan II. Satan II. And it was about to become the biggest weapon in Putin's arsenal until they popped this scientist for treason. Now, it's not going to go well for him.
Oh, no. He's probably alive now, but he won't be forever. I mean, Putin will poison you if you say, I think I'll run against you, let alone something like this.
This is one of those things where, it's the stuff of a Hollywood movie. I was just the other day listening to a thing about Jeffrey Epstein, the now dead sex trafficker.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein was involved in arms trading deals and passing weapons through this port in Djibouti in Africa, where all of the officials are corrupted and on the take, and they can be bribed to look the other way. So Jeffrey Epstein was he was Satan III. He was a horrifying human being. Absolutely wretched human being. And now you're starting to understand why Bill Gates' wife, Melinda, divorced Bill Gates over the relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, because he was horrible in every single way. And what I just said to you, Jeffrey Epstein was involved in arms smuggling through this port of Djibouti, sounds like the subplot of a James Bond movie, but it's really happening.
Actually, you could have taken, when he was alive, Jeffrey Epstein, and if you could make him an actor, he'd be a perfect Bond villain.
Oh,
just good looking enough, kind of a creepy smile. Yeah, without a doubt.
Living on, with a private island and a ranch called Zorro.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is the next time you're watching a movie and they've got some Russian rocket scientist selling secrets to the West, and you go, that never happened. Oh, it's happening right now. It's Bob and Sheri.
Bob and Sheri, live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, live on the Bob and Sheri Facebook page.
Digimon is short for digital monsters. And evidently, Digimon monsters have trading cards that are of some value. And that leads us to this story. I would have put it in Morons in the News, but we didn't have time. Adelaide, which is a town in Australia, has a trading card store. And 3 people went into the store, broke into it, and stole a large number of rare Digimon trading cards and also board games. And then the same day, police say a man returned to the same store and tried to sell the allegedly stolen cards back to the same store, which is so stupid. They just robbed it a few hours ago, and they come back in with those cards and say, how much are these worth? I'd like to sell them to you. So they were arrested, and then a third man was followed, and the police arrested him. He is described as a 41-year-old man of no fixed address. If you are 41 and you don't have a fixed address, you up to something.
Well, you're certainly not bogged down with a mortgage and a bunch of obligations like the rest of us, sir. You are a free spirit. All I can think when somebody says Digimon, one of my nieces said to me one time, I said, she had dated this guy for a couple of years. Like, whatever happened to so-and-so? And she went, Aunt Sheri, he got a giant Digimon sleeve tattooed on his arm. That's what happened. That's what happened to him.
And that was it. Oh, my word.
When he was a kid.
Does a guy like that know that he may lose his girlfriend if he does that?
He grew up watching it. He was like a huge fan. And you cannot, Digimon and Pokemon are not the same thing. These are 2 separate worlds, and you will get your face punched right in if you suggest they're the same. He was a Digimon guy. That was it. That was his thing. And he has a whole arm sleeve. And my niece was like, how could I have ever?
It wasn't the idea of the sleeve. It was that it was digital monsters. Yeah. It was digital monsters. It was the Digimon. Yeah. I just when I read that thing, I just thought no fixed address. So that means you're probably crashing on somebody's couch. And maybe after, a week, it's time for you to go. You're going to find another couch to crash on.
I'm going to say this. Once upon a time, I would have been like, no fixed address. No, thanks. I hear that now and I'm like, oh how freeing. Are you living in your van by the river? Because that sounds good. You know what? That really does sound good.
You have this fantasy of getting an RV and having no fixed address, just living
really
in the RV. But that's different. This dude is not in a $100,000 RV.
I don't even want a $100,000 RV. I want a customized conversion van now. Because I can't drive a big RV. I can't park one. I can't drive one. I'm just terrified. I want something that I can drive and park in front of a Target or wherever. I want one of these pimped out conversion vans.
You want the Mercedes-Benz Airstream.
that
Because
would be good
drivable.
Too. Or the Winnebago has like a Sprinter kind of van. There's a thing, anybody that's on social media, especially Instagram, has seen this. There's this thing called Omaze, and they have sweepstakes, and they donate the money that they raise to charity. I have registered to win so many different tricked out conversion vans because I'm just convinced this is my destiny, that I would be able to have no fixed address. It sounds so freeing. It just sounds amazing. Now,
would it be
with
just
my no fixed address... No, with my no fixed address, I'm not going to rob Digimon cards and Pokemon stuff. I'm not going to steal from people. What's confining about it?
Well, it's small. I mean, it's smaller than a tiny house. Is that going to get old after about a month?
Well, I'll just speak on behalf of me and Max, who have been sitting in something the size of a closet for a year and a half. And so far we're holding on to the sanity pretty good.
No, but you've got a big house. You can go when the broadcast is down, you can go and, stretch out. There's nowhere to stretch out in one of those things. I mean, literally.
I'll say this about having a house. So when I'm done working today, I will. And today we have happy hour tonight, right? Because it's the gateway to the weekend. In between finishing work and happy hour, I'm going to vacuum the whole upstairs and mop the floors and fold laundry. What I would like to be doing.
It's a hard enough life.
Yeah.
It's a hard enough life.
What I would like to be doing is sitting in a lawn chair looking out at the river that my van that I live in is parked in front of. So this idea of stretching out and relaxing, that's not my reality.
All right, but suppose there's 5 days of rain, so you're not going to be sitting outside looking at the river. You're inside the van. You're going to be able to roll with that?
I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to go to the local library, and I'm going to go find someplace big indoors to walk around, like the Mall of America, depending on where I am. No, I'm going to keep myself busy. And as long as Kevin doesn't have too much to say, he'll probably survive. Probably. I'm not a violent person. Mostly. It's Bob and Sheri. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Bob and Sheri podcast and the Bob and Sheri Oddcast. We would love if you would subscribe, rate and review, and share it with a friend on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you go. And thank you again for listening.